Hello everyone, I'm Rachel Tessman from stampyourartout.com and I am here to bring you a live paper crafting class here on YouTube. It is Wednesday, November 10th at 11 a.m. Central Time as I'm broadcasting to you live. And I'm going to show you how to make two cards today. Both of them are using the same embossing folder, but you could apply this idea to different kinds of 3D embossing folders. It's a 3D one in that it embosses really deeply. We're going to be using blending brushes for our technique, and it's super simple and it's super easy to make this stunning look using embossing folders that are 3D and blending brushes. Actually, you could probably do this with regular embossing folders too, but 3D it just really pops. So we're going to make some stunning card fronts, and then we're going to turn one of those cards into a W fold card, and I've shown that in the past. So I do have a link to the description of my video, or to the description of that video. I'm sorry, I have a link in the description of my video to that video that I did. I think it was back in April 2020. So anyways, if you wanted to see another kind of W fold card. So welcome everyone. I'm just going to click a few buttons here and make sure that we are bringing the comments to my actual screen up here so I don't have to keep peeking over there. But it's fun to see everyone's emojis. Oh my gosh, this is so awesome. Thanks you guys for thank you all of you for tuning in. Okay, so we're gonna start by sharing comments from last week, because when you comment, you get entered into a prize drawing, and it just makes it more fun. I get to read through them and I get to see where people are from. I get to see if you're a first-time viewer. I get to hear about what's going on in your day, if you're avoiding work to watch, if you're multitasking. I get to hear about how long you've been a crafter. I get to learn tips from you. There's many tips that I've shared in my videos that I get from past viewers. So share your tips. Those are awesome. And it's fun to see you connect with each other too. So please chime in. So much fun. Okay, what do I want to, I want to keep talking about the comments for just a minute here, because we have Trisha Josephs. Trisha Josephs is my moderator. Let's give her a hand. Yay, Trisha. She is joining in as she does most every week. And she, as you can see, her name is highlighted a bit more. She's got a little wrench symbol next to her name. Trisha Josephs is the person who will answer your questions. She will guide you to the right places. She'll announce prize winners. So I love her. She's awesome. And she just commented that if you'd like to tag her, like if you want your question or comment to be seen by her, you want to make sure that you tag her. Now she'll look through the comments, but sometimes she misses questions. So when you tag her, it really makes your comment or question stand out. The way that you do that is you start typing with the @ sign, the A with the circle around it, and then start typing her name, Tricia, and then Josephs. Make sure that you put her whole name in there. You're going to be able to grab her name. It'll come up once you start typing it correctly. And then she'll be able to read it and answer you right away. Also, with commenting, we're going to draw prize winners at the end of this video. We're going to draw 2 from the live video, and then we'll draw 1 more from the after live comments. So last week we had people who commented after the live was already done. Those winners will be that winner will be picked and drawn for us at the end of this video as well. So you get a chance to win, even if you're not live. Oh my gosh, I'm distracted by so many things today. What am I going to pull up? I'm going to pull up comments from last time. Sorry. I think I just, there's always that last minute stuff before you go live, and there's a couple things that didn't happen. So I'm just going to wing it. But you guys don't know what they are. So I'm just going to keep moving on. We have comments from last time. Lots of new viewers. Thank you so much. And thank you for telling me that you're new to my videos. I appreciate that. I would love it if you would subscribe to my channel too. Give me the thumbs up if you can. You can see that, gosh, we had Penny, Karen, Brenda, Carol. Is it Ilem? Judy, Monica, Liz, Vicky, lots of new people. And then we also had, oh, I'm sorry, Vicky, we had people from all over the world. Like Vicky said she is from South Australia. Who else did we have? We had some people coming in from, oh gosh, they're off to the right there. You can see from Arizona, from New York, Missouri, South Africa, France, Honolulu. So fun to see where everyone's from. Let's see here. I'm going to scroll now because all of our questions are on the second page. And we didn't have too many questions from last time, which means I must have done a good enough job. I don't know. Happy birthday to Eileen for celebrating her 70th last week. And Robin asked about how I store my stamp sets and my dies. I do not store them together. I store them separately because sometimes I can use dies along with other sets, and I don't want them to be hidden from me. So I keep them separate and out in the open so that I can just, glance at all of them whenever I need to. But I'm not a hoarder either. I don't hang on to past or retired products. If you're somebody that has a lot of products, it's sometimes best to keep your dies within a stamp set packaging so that, like store your dies in the same packaging. It's whatever works for you. And then Laura gave the hint about wrapping her piercing mat. So this thing here that I often forget, the piercing mat can be wrapped in paper, like your grid paper or whatever. I don't do that because I'd have to unwrap and rewrap because I like to have a clean paper when I'm presenting in my videos. But yes, if you have one that you're always using, you can get ink on it and just change it out whenever it gets too dirty. But yes, great idea. And Pam, you want to know if I use my piercing mat even when I'm not doing my videos. And I do, but I forget it just as often. So it's just not habit for me. And I do tend to get a pretty good image without my piercing mat. It's just those solid stamps where I really need to make sure I'm pulling in that piercing mat. But if you have like an outline image, you get a pretty good image even if you have a firm table, I should say, a firm even table. So, but yes, the piercing mat is a great tool. And then some fun jokes. Lisa's card was shared last week. So she said, I should have done my hair. I love the reminder about how many days we have till Christmas, although you got to take 7 off of that now. Yeah. So, and then Paper Hugs asked, where do we get the calendars that were in Lisa's version of her card? Tailored Expressions is what Lisa suggested. So let us move now to the table. I'm going to show you the finished cards. I don't always do that. Sometimes I show them partway through, but I'm going to pull them out right now because I think you need to see them right now. So this is the first one that we're going to make fully. This is the W fold card. Isn't it so pretty? So inside, ta-da! Some of you may have made these cards before. Not sure if you have or not, but I'm going to show you my version for this one today. And then this is the other card, and it's not as fancy, but it's using black cardstock instead of white. And you can see I've speckled on a little bit of Wink of Stella, which I forgot to grab. Oh my gosh, all of a sudden I thought of it. So on the inside, it's just a simple little interior. But, all right. Oh, good. Thank you. We have lots of very generous comments about the cards that I made. All right, so let's go ahead and start with measurements, actually. Let's do that. I'm going to grab my Wink of Stella, and let's pull up the measurements. You do not need to take a screenshot if you want to visit my, hang on. If you want to visit my, my blog post, and that link is in the description of my video. If you want to visit that at about 12:15 Central Time or afterwards on today, which is November 10th, you'll be able to access this actual sheet. It'll be a printable sheet, so you don't have to do a screenshot of it, but you certainly may if you want to craft along with me. And you can see I've got the images of the cards in there, the date, the name of the project we're working on. I have measurements in Imperial only today, sorry, for the black card and the white card, and then you can see all the supplies are listed as well. So, all right, we're going to move back to the desktop and start cutting. Let's go ahead and take our full sheet. I'm using thick. Did I write that down? I did. Good. So good. Thick basic white cardstock. We're using the thicker one because it's going to become a card base, right? And we're going to cut this in half. You know what? Someone just bought the trimmer from me and emailed back saying, I'm frustrated with this trimmer. First of all, the handle doesn't lift, and she named off a couple other things that we worked out that she just needed some guidance on. But I want to show you, so you can extend the arm, just so you know. But this handle, it has little locking mechanisms at the top and bottom. It's not locking completely, but it's enough where when you have your trimmer laying on its side, this isn't going to flap open like our older trimmer used to do. So you have to kind of pull it from the top or bottom to unhinge it, to unlock it. Don't pull it from the middle. It's going to frustrate you. There. Hope that helps anybody who's getting the trimmer new recently. Okay. We're going to cut this paper in half, and we have it in the vertical fashion right now. So half of 8.5 inches is 4 1/4. So I've brought it to the 4 1/4 inch mark, and I'm going to go ahead and slice with the dark blade. We're going to save this piece because we're going to use a part of it. And now I'm going to rotate it this way. So half of 11 inches. See, you can see I do that too. Like I pull it in the middle. I'm like, oh wait, I got to move towards the top. Is 5.5 inches. And then I'm going to use my light blade, which is the one I've labeled as a scoring blade. So I actually wrote the word score on it with a Sharpie marker. So I've now scored it, and that is going to be my card base for my white card. We also need a layer on the front. So we're going to take and cut it down 1/8 of an inch in each direction. So instead of 4 1/4 by 5.5, we're going to go, we'll go this way first. 5 3/8. So that's 1/8 of an inch shorter than 5.5. And we're going to bring it to 4 1/8. So that's 1/8 of an inch shorter than 4 1/4. And then, I think that's ready because we're going to emboss that. Got our card base ready. I'm going to go through one other measurement with you, and that is this strip. So you're going to have to pull out another piece of cardstock to get this long strip. This is going to be the mechanism for your W fold. And for the W fold, you're also going to need some smaller white panels too. So you're going to need a couple sheets of this 8.5 by 11 cardstock for it. So for your W fold mechanism, you have an 11-inch long piece. That's how long this is. And then you're going to score it in half, which I've already done, but I'm just going to go through the motions. So at half at 5.5, and then halfway through that, which is 2 3/4 inches. And then instead of going all the way to the other side, which you certainly could do, and I'm just looking at my sheet over here, that would be 8 1/4. So that's why I wanted to show you that you can extend your arm if you want to. You could also just flip this around and measure in to, again, that same mark, 2 3/4 inches. Okay, and that will give you this W like that. Okay, all right. Okay. Oh, thank you, Jean. Yes, don't forget to give the thumbs up. I appreciate that. This piece, I'm just going to, I think we're done with that. So we're going to set that aside. We're going to emboss next. And we're actually going to do two kinds of embossing in this. We're going to do dry embossing, where we're embossing with an embossing folder. And we're going to do heat embossing because that's how we're going to apply most of the ink to our cards. So if you want to learn embossing, here's the two different main kinds, okay? We're going to go ahead and put our platform down, which is platform level number 1. It's the thick platform. And then we're going to take and put our embossing folder in, and we're going to emboss 3 things. We're actually going to emboss more, but I already have those smaller pieces embossed. So if you saw the measurements, in fact, let's just go there real quick so you can see that. If you saw the measurements here under the white card, which is the one we're mainly working on now, you can see that we have 4 pieces, oh here, 3 pieces, sorry, that are 1 7/8, so almost 2 inches, by 2 5/8, so almost 2 3/4 inches. So those 3 pieces, 2 of them you're going to emboss. But I've already done that to save on time. And then we're also going to emboss this piece here. That is the smaller of the whites that we just cut. And then we're going to emboss our black at this time too. Oh, and our envelope, just because we might as well get all the embossing out of the way. Okay, so let's set this up. This is our Magnolia 3D embossing folder, and you can see that you can get these beautiful magnolia flowers embossed into your paper this way. I'm just going to position it close to the same way I positioned my other card, because you know Rachel, she likes to make sure it looks the same way as the one that we put on the blog, right? Okay, so now I'm going to place this down onto my platform. I've got my paper between, and I'm going to position my plate. This is the one for 3D embossing folders. It's plate number 4 on top of that. And that's going to be the perfect sandwich for our Stamp and Cut and Emboss machine. And I'm just cranking the handle. Usually my handle is out of view, so you can't see it, but this is the way it works. You literally just crank, okay? And we're gonna bring that through and open this up and look at this. Is that gorgeous? It's so beautiful. So 3D embossing folders give you an embossed look that really pops out at you. I mean, look at this petal appears closer than this petal, you know what I mean? So it just really deepens. It gives a deeper look. We're gonna do the envelope flap now. So to do that, I'm just gonna go in, oops, and I'm going to position this like that so that we get just a little hint of the flower. In fact, I'm gonna go a little deeper in there so you can really see that flower. Oh, I don't know if you can see that. You can't really see it, sorry. So you can really see the flower on there after we've embossed. So what I want to do is I want to make sure I can see the line of my envelope in here. So when I place this on top, I want to make sure that that is not going to be beyond that line. Now there is a ridge at the end of this plate. It's not really a ridge, but it's a tapering. So I want to go to, the tapering allows you to crank it into your machine. So I want to go right to where the tapering starts. Okay, so that's about 1/8 of an inch in. So I'm going to line up my 1/8 of an inch in of tapering. I'm going to have that go right, I'm going to line that up right over that line of my envelope. I hope that makes sense. I'm not explaining that very well today. Rachel's stumbling over her words. Okay, so that's going to release the pressure when I start embossing. If I do not have that portion over it, it's not going to put pressure on that portion of the envelope. Hopefully this works. Oh my goodness, Rachel. Oh yeah, well, I got a little embossing on there. And that's okay. You'll be able to see a little bit of a leaf over the top. But it's okay. I didn't do it perfectly. So there's our embossed envelope flap. That will go with our card. Love it, love it, love it. The theory was good, right, Rachel? Didn't quite work. The next one we're going to do is the black card, and we'll set that up the same way as our other one. So hang on a minute. That's going to go in like this and like that, and I'm checking to make sure it looks like my other card. Place that on there, put this back on top, and we'll bring it through. So now that you get the idea of how to emboss with this machine, we'll go ahead and start adding some color to those pieces. So let's move these out of the way. Actually, I think I'm going to heat emboss next. Let's just zoom in a bit. Yeah, I think I'm going to heat emboss next. Let's look at this now. See? Beautiful. But still, it doesn't stand out like it does on the cards, right? We want it to stand out, and that's what the blending brushes and the inks are going to do. So let's bring in these pieces now. These are going to be done with heat embossing. So if you've never done heat embossing before, you want to have a heat tool. That's number one. Then you want to have a sticky ink. And the sticky ink that we're going to use is Versamark. I love Versamark ink for embossing. It's a clear ink that will actually dry on colored cardstock to give you a tone-on-tone look. So that's always fun. And then we're going to use some embossing powders. And we're using the white powder from the Basics collection and the gold powder from the Metallics collection. Now the gold powder I'm not doing right now. I've already finished that piece, and that is over here somewhere. I'll show it to you soon. But I will emboss with the white one right now. So we're just going to set the gold one out of the way. What I like to do is put my powder into a little container like this with a miniature little spoon. Just makes it easier for me to scoop in and out and you know, save powder that I need for next time. So we're going to stamp. Now let me introduce you to the stamp sets. These are the stamp sets that will be the stars for our cards today. We're using Timeless Tulips for the black card, and we're only using a sentiment from it, but it's one of my favorite sentiments. What a beautiful difference one single life makes. Now you can do this with a sympathy card. You can do this with a birth of a new baby. You can do this with a birthday card. A congratulations for someone who did something amazing, right? Just it's celebrating someone's life. It's just a great sentiment. This one here, Elegantly Said, is the one that we're going to be using for the white card, because do you see this flower here? It's almost like the Magnolias on the folders. So you can see again the imagery of the magnolia flowers. Hello, it's a really good match. So we're going to be using that image. We're going to be using this one just for fun. And then we're going to be using the sentiment, True Love Stories Last Forever. Now you can use any of these words on the front of your card. So if you want to make well, we're doing it an anniversary card, sorry. But if you wanted to make it into a thank you card or a birthday card or whatever, you've got lots of choices in this set. This is why I love this set too, Elegantly Said. So let's bring in those stamps and let's stamp True Love Stories Last Forever. We'll do that one first. We're going to ink up our stamp. Now because we have red rubber stamps, we do not need the piercing mat, the Stampin' Pierce mat. But we're going to go ahead and stamp that smack dab in the middle of this piece here, like that. Now we have a clear sticky ink, so it's going to be hard to see. Let's see if we can angle it right. We're not going to be able to. We don't want to let it sit too long. It's not showing at all, you guys. Oh my goodness. What if I oh, there we go. There, I angled it left instead. Okay, so now we want to get that powder on there before it dries. So we're just going to go like this. Now, if you're somebody who has oily fingers, you know, you tend to sweat a lot more or whatever. I always have dry hands. So I don't use an embossing buddy or a pouch or whatever, but you can get those types of tools and they will help to keep fingerprints from picking up powder. So there we have our powder just on the sticky ink areas, okay? We're going to heat that up, but let's go ahead and stamp this one next. I got powder on there. We're going to ink up our happy anniversary image. And we'll stamp that in the middle. And then we'll stamp our flower. And we're going to stamp our flower down here a little bit. Hope I'm doing this the same way as my other card. I don't know because it's not open in front of me. And then this one's going to go over here. So I'm going to grab my paper. Can you see all of that? Not yet, Rachel. Come on, angle it right. You're almost there. Oh, there we go. Kinda. All right, you can kind of see it in there. So now we're going to add the powder to that. It's always nice to have one little area where you can hold on to it with your fingers, right? So yeah, I just do it right over my bowl. And then there's a few little pieces of powder that got outside the bowl, and I will just clean those up real quickly. But yeah, I can shove my spoon back in there, get that out of my way, close this up, get that out of my way, and then just go like that on the floor. All right, next is this tool, which you can easily make yourself. It is basically chipboard, the cardboard that comes with specialty papers. So it's like a 12 by 12 piece that I just covered with aluminum foil from my kitchen. And then I have on here taped down a little miniature clothespin. Some people use paper clips, but I find, like, I put this on here today just to make a few of you happy, but I don't use this. I don't typically use this because what I find over time is that this starts to get powder on it, melted powder, and then it messes up some of my other projects. So I prefer, and I'm going to grab it really quick. I prefer a little skewer. And you can see it's got powder at the end, right? From getting heated up or whatever, inked up. But you can flip to the other end. You can cut it and try it. You know, I mean, I like this tool better. But you have to be coordinated with your left hand enough to be able to hold it still while you heat. And sometimes that doesn't work, right? So we're just going to clip this in like that. And then we're going to aim our heat gun away. So we're going to angle our heat gun in this direction away from the little clothespin. We're going to turn it on now. It's going to make some noise. Thanks, Janet. She goes, I love your cleaning method. All right, we're just going to get it going for a minute. Get it hot. This is not a hair dryer, by the way. It's definitely got really, really high heat to it. So you don't want to dry your hair with it, and you don't want to put your hand in front of it after it's gotten nice and hot. Just wiggle it back and forth. Aim the heat away. Oh, you can start to see the white areas? You can see that it's getting nice and white and bright there. So the powder, when it heats, brightens up a bit. You can tell. You don't want to overheat either. All right, so I've got that piece done. So we can pull that off, and then we want to put this one on. And because this one has embossing on both ends, I'm just going to focus on that end first, over there, and then I'm going to flip it around. Because again, you want to aim the heat away from you. My techie embossing tools. I know. Aren't they techie? I love it. You don't have to own like really fancy stuff, you know? You can make things work. In fact, I have to admit, okay, so if someone says to me, Rachel, do you use this platform all the time? No, I don't. In fact, this is what I would do. I would just hold it away from my finger. But I know that that's not always easy for some people, so I wanted to give you options. All right. Pretty, pretty, pretty. So our stuff is embossed and done and ready to go. Next, we're going to punch this piece. So this piece is not actually ready yet. We're going to bring in the punch called the Label Me Fancy punch. And I've already cut my cardstock to fit the height of that area there. Right? This is because it's going to go this way. So that's the height, that's the width. So now we need to trim the ends with this punch. So we're going to aim it inward and we're going to pull it through like that. Right? We're pulling it through and then we're positioning it so it's nice and straight and we're punching. You don't want to have it shim to one side or the other, right? You want to have it nice and straight and punch. And then you do the same thing to the other side. So you put it in the end, you pull it through You can do this with all kinds of punches. If you did not know this tip before, it's really a great way to make your punches punch beyond. And I mean, you can get lots of different shapes from one punch just by adjusting the size, like a strip either direction, right? Okay, so there's that piece. And now we're gonna start with the coloring. Yay! Let's do the white piece first. I'm gonna zoom in. So this is where we get artsy. We're gonna grab some grid paper that's cleaner. No, it's dirtier. I'm doing this because I wanna have a clean area when I'm done. So there you go. Rachel's a neat freak. We're using fresh freesia, which is a new in color. It's going to be around for another year and a half. And then we're also going to use Coastal Cabana, which is one of my favorites. I'm wearing a lighter version. Actually, it's more of a pool party color today, but it's showing up very white in the camera. Bonnie, your mind was blown with what idea? Now, oh, the punching. Maybe that's what it was. Yeah, the punching. So awesome, right? That you can make your punches go in different shapes just with one punch. Let's start with the freesia. Okay, so I've got my blending brush, and my blending brushes, I'm gonna have like 50 because eventually, I don't have 50 yet, but I'm labeling each with its own color because I can't stand the idea of mixing my colors. Another neat freak thing. But you could totally have like a purple one, a red one, a light blue, a dark, you know what I mean? Because you can just kind of rub in between and get enough ink off where you can use it in another color that's very similar. Not Rachel. Or you can really get OCD. I don't know if you want to call that. That's making that term negative. But you can really get crazy with it. Is that the term I want to use either? Wash your brushes and then let them dry this way so that the water comes all the way out. I don't do that either. I just label them. I'm going to use one brush per color because that's Rachel. So we're just getting off some of the excess ink because we don't want to have tons of ink on there. And then I'm going to come in, I'm just going to do portions, and I'm going very lightly. Like I'm barely touching the surface. One thing that I wish Stampin' Up! Would carry is a flatter version of the blending brush. A blending tool that allows you to go onto the surface of these types of embossing folders or any type of embossing folder without the ink actually going into the background area. So, but we're going to have a little bit of background area colored in. So there's a little bit of purple that's going to seep elsewhere because this brush is rounded. Now that I've done that area as much as I want, I'm going to come up here and I'm going to add a little bit up here. And again, going very lightly. Like you can barely, I'm barely tapping. In fact, you can't even see the color much yet. Hang on. So now you can start to see the color coming in. I am so light on adding this color that I don't even think we're even getting that etchy look, which I sometimes see in my camera. I don't see it on my paper, but I see it on my camera sometimes when I'm demonstrating for all of you, and it kind of bugs me. But I'm not getting that scratchy or etchy look because I'm going so light. So we're going to have a few areas of this with purple or fresh freesia streaks going through. It's kind of a pinky purple, which you can obviously tell from here. And then we're going to go through the middle a bit. And this is where our sentiment piece is going to cover. But so I can come in here with a little bit darker ink and blend out and away because it'll get covered up if I'm too dark. But I just wanted to have a few little areas of that purple color. Isn't that gorgeous? It's amazing how the images just stand out so much better now. Let's come in with our Coastal Cabana now. So bring off a little excess ink. This one's not as inked up. My ink pad is not as inked up, so it's not having the same issue as like our fresh freesia would. And we're just going to start with this bottom flower again, real lightly. And I'm going to do the other areas of the white too, but I'm not going to do the whole surface. I'm just going to do around the edges, like through here, just to make this white stand out against the other white when it's laid on top, which it's not doing quite yet. We want it to kind of stand out a little bit, but we don't want to eliminate our white. We still want to see the white come through. So now, what do we have? See? Isn't that better? Okay, and then we'll do that on all 4 corners. In fact, through here, because we still have some of the flower, I want to have that show up. I have no clue what color these flowers should be, but aren't they white with like a blue tinge to them? You guys tell me. I'm just trying to remember what I used to use with this stamp set that used to coordinate with this. We carried a stamp set, and I think I tried to make those flowers mostly white. So I'm just going around the edges. I don't know. Maybe there's different color magnolias. But I made mine kind of whitish, purplish, pinkish. All right, and now we're going to come over here and we're going to add with a little bit more pressure. And the lighter you start, the better. So just start out real light and compare it by going like this. Did I add color or did I not add color? You know, because sometimes in certain lighting it's hard to tell, especially if you're crafting at night with kind of a yellow light. Try to get those daylight bulbs in your lamps because those will give you a truer light than a yellow type of light, a yellow bulb. Soft white. You don't want soft white. You want daylight. Just a little tip for your craft rooms. Okay, let's go in just a little bit more with intense color in the middle here. So I'm loving that. I think that's good. Think that's good? A little bit more down here. Now I'm comparing to my other card that I have sitting off to the side. Okay. Oh, Rachel, what did she do? Do you see that? Okay. There was bound to be something, right? Oh, they come in a variety of pink colors. Thank you, Teresia. Is that how you say your name? Teresia. Teresia. It's very pretty. So here's what we could do on this card. We can just shift the sentiment over. Or we can put a pearl there. Is it small enough? I don't know. Maybe not. Oh, Rachel. Okay, so that piece is done and overdone. And now let's come in and do some white ink. So for our white ink, you need to invest in the uninked white ink pad. It's called Whisper White still. But you want the Whisper White with the refill, and then you have to take the refill ink and put it onto the pad. And because it's a firm foam pad, it's like the same kind of pads that we have on all our other ones. You need to lay the ink on there, and then you need to take like a credit card or a spoon or a plastic knife or something and press the ink into the pad. So, all right, we're picking up some white ink. It's a craft ink, so it's a little thicker. So when we do this, we're gonna come very light on top. Very light, Rachel. Barely touching. Oh gosh, can you see that? I barely touched it, and we're getting the ink on the surface. And we just want to emphasize those flowers. You can go ahead and do around the edges too. I didn't do that too much. I just wanted those flowers to really pop. So, very light. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Look at the difference between, and if I go further back, you can really tell, between that flower and that flower there, right? You can really see it show up. So we'll do that to this over here, starting kind of in the center where the most white would want to go anyways, right? And then we'd slowly go out as the ink leaves the blending brush. So the ink will lighten as you use the blending brush. That's why if you start in the center where you'd want the most color and you kind of do a little bit of wiping off onto your grid paper, then you're going to be safe and you won't have too much ink applied. Very light application, start in the center, remove some ink initially. Hope all those tips help. I think the biggest one though is light application. I mean, you barely put pressure on this. There's that. That's how I want that one to look. So now, before we set that aside and say it's done, I'm going to bring in another tool, or another color I should say. Do you see how this one has a little bit of speckle to it? So that's where the Wink of Stella comes in. This is like a mini paintbrush. I'm moving things off to the side because the ink will fly a little bit. And just because I know I'm going to tap in this direction, I've angled my grid paper a bit too. I'm going to pull the cover off. I've already got it on my hands. Nice, Rachel. And we're going to tap. We're just going to tap, and we're going to get little glittery speckles. You can already see a few of the glittery speckles going on there. Okay. Now, if you have a Wink of Stella brush that is real juicy, so maybe you've squeezed too hard on the side when you've used it, then you need to be more careful. But this one here, I have two of them, and I have one that is a little more juicy, and that one I would have like big splotches on. I just want little tiny splotches. Also, look at your grid paper as you're doing this kind of tapping technique, because your grid paper could be picking up speckles that are way beyond the card, and that just means that you need to then angle your brush a little differently to get those speckles to go onto your card instead of onto your grid paper. All right. You may decorate your room at the same time, but there's that finished look. That's fun. So many fun techniques, Rachel. I'm having a hard time lately. I want to show one card and then I'm like, nah, let's show another version of it. All right, so, oops, forgot to close up this pad. Let's bring in our pieces and let's assemble the black one first. Yes, that sounds good. Okay, so for the black one, we need our card base, which I've cut the same size. So it's 4 1/4 by 11, scored in the middle at 5.5 inches. And we're just going to apply that directly to our card base. We're not going to lift it up on dimensionals or anything. And because we still are waiting for that Wink of Stella to dry, I'm just going to put my adhesive directly onto my base, making sure that my adhesive does not go close to the edges. So that way, in case I still have little Wink of Stella spots that are drying, I'm not going to have to worry about smushing them if I flip it over, you know. So there's that. This piece is going to go on the inside. This is already layered up. It's the gold foil sheet with some smoky slate. And I chose smoky slate because I felt like after this was done, this had more of a smoky slate tone to it than white. And plus, I think it just makes it more regal looking. Do you see how I used a whole piece of gold foil under this layer? If you want to be thrifty, and I don't often care about that, but if you want to be thrifty, you can take and remove the center before you put this down, and that will give you even more gold foil to use on another project later on. I have a lot of gold foil, so I didn't care. And then we have another piece. I'm being honest with you, right? We have another piece that we have, I think it's over here. We have embossed, and I already did it in my gold embossing powder, and that we're going to pop up on dimensionals. Because this is an all black card, I'm going to recommend that you invest in all black dimensionals. They come with 2 sheets of mini and 2 sheets of regular. I have gone through all of my regular, so I need to be good and use up my minis before I buy another packet. But the nice thing about these is that they are indeed black. So if someone looks at the card at an angle, they are seeing black all the way through. Okay, and that's going to get popped down right here in the middle. And it really shows up nicely against those white flowers or smoky slate flowers. And then the last thing that I want to add on this card is a little bit of brushed metallic adhesive back dots. They come in kind of a brassy color. Then we've got the copper, and then we've got the gold. And so I'm just going to pull that out and grab my Take Your Pick tool. I'm going to grab a smaller of the two and add that down here. And I think that's it. There's my two different cards. This is what the inside looks like on that one. Yay! The simple technique. It does. You know, you don't have to go and do all this elaborate stuff to make pretty cards. Wink of Stella, a couple metallic dots. Okay, let's zoom out a bit, and we're going to work on our other card now. This is the W fold card. So we're going to grab our white base again, and we need our multiple layers. So on this card, we need multiple layers. Let me just show you the difference again between these two pieces, just by adding ink. So here was our embossed piece, and here is our embossed but then blended piece. So not only do you get the texture, but you get that pop that you wouldn't have if you didn't add color to it. This we're going to add with regular dimensionals. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Hey Trisha, I hope you're listening, unless you're typing something to somebody, but I forgot to pick a winner from last week's after live comments. So in the beginning of this video, part of me was a little stressed inside because I'm like, what do I do? But you know what? I'm going to reach out to you and I'm going to say, Trisha, could you possibly go in and pick a winner from the after live comments from last week? Would you mind? Sorry, my card keeps popping up, so I'm going to bring in my awesome bone folder. So I've only put a dimensional in each corner because I want this to be mailable. I don't want to have too thick of a card. And then my sentiment that's going to go on the inside. Oh, this is the one. This is the one I didn't make a mistake on. Hang on. Here's the one I did make a mistake on. I had one finished just in case. Here's the one I did make the mistake on. So we can go ahead and just use this. Yeah, we're using this. Now I could use black dimensionals on here, or I could use white because it's going to connect to white paper. I'm just going to go ahead and stick with my white dimensional plan. And this is going to get popped down in the middle. But you saw my way of fixing the other one, right? Just bring it off to the side. That's okay. Or put a pearl there. So that's going to go through here like that. Now before we do the rest of the decorating on the front, we're going to do the W fold, just because I don't like to work against little bumpy areas like pearls and stuff. In fact, I probably shouldn't have even added these layers yet, but I did. So we're just going to roll with it. But another thing I want to point out too before I close or open the card and finish is that I've got some dimensionals in this section here, and then I've got dimensionals here. So when my card gets flattened to go in the mail with my beautiful envelope, it's only going to be one dimensional and then those few layers thick, unless I'm adding and making a W fold. Okay, so now we're getting into the W fold. This is going to make it thicker. So I won't throw it away, Shirley. Thank you. I saw your comment. No, I will not throw this away. I will definitely make this into another card. Okay, so now let's bring in our other pieces. So we need our layers of black. These pieces are 2 inches by 2 3/4 inches. And then we need our layers of white. So we need 3 of these. We need our embossed black piece, so black on black, which is still going to be beautiful, because if you look at this, watch. When I lay this on here, do you see what's happening? I've created now a nice border around these two corner sections. In fact, let's just put those together right now, like that. And that is our main piece that's going to have, you know, our sentiment for the inside, right? And then this piece is going to get stamped. And then my other two pieces, I'm going to emboss and then ink, which I've done for you. So those are ready. Those are just portions of the white cardstock that I got when I did this and cut it out. Actually, what I did is I cut these pieces and positioned them in the embossing folder, so they were already where I wanted them in the embossing folder, and they were already pre-cut. And so I embossed and didn't have to, you know, because if you do it this way and then you try to cut them out, it's a lot more work. Okay, so we have to do one more thing. So let's bring in that grid paper and let's get inky. We're bringing in these guys again. Okay, so we're going to use our blending brushes and our inks and this beautiful stamp that looks like this. So what we're going to do with that is we're going to take and ink it up. I'm just looking over at my finished card. I want to make sure I do it pretty similar. Hang on. Okay. All right, so we're going to do some fresh freesia here and here. I'm applying the ink to my stamp with my blending brush. Pretty darn cool. Oops. And then we need to do the blue through the middle. So the Coastal Cabana through the middle. And yes, you will get a little ink crossover, but then you go like this on your paper and you clean it off. So now we can stamp this. You want to moisten it with your breath. So you're going to go in and do that. And then we stamp it down. And we're going to stamp it. Oh, Rachel, you did it the opposite way. Oh, Rachel. You're not gonna get the same image, Rachel. Clean it off. Okay, sorry. Hang on. There. Quickly. Do it quickly. Blue this way. And purple this way. Yeah, it makes a difference because it'll fit in the puzzle better. It's a puzzle. I'm doing a puzzle. So now I'm going to stamp this like this. Do you see how I angled it on that paper? So I've covered up half of it, but at an angle. And then I'm going to do the same thing where I'm going to color in the blue and then the purple. And you want your colors to mix in a little bit on the edges, otherwise they're like that. You want that look, okay? You don't want to have like a blank area of your image. So just again, clean off your sponge by going like this if you get any mixing. I'm just exhaling. That's all I'm doing. Like that. And you see how the image makes kind of a puzzle piece look? They kind of fit together if you do it like that. These little loops kind of loop inside of each other. So pretty. I love that look. Let's take and add those now to our black background pieces. So we'll flip each of these over, add some seal adhesive. Oh, Rachel. Yeah, if you ever have that happen where your see what happened there? Your seal adhesive picked up some of the paper. It happens on my black cardstock more than anything else. But if that happens, you're going to go opposite direction. So if you pull it out and you've taken off a little layer of the paper, make your seal go the other direction. Make it go backwards again. And then you grab like a scrap piece. You're going to grab your scrap piece and you're going to just run your... There you go. And it'll come off. It'll remove. Okay? Now we can come back in and we're just going to be really careful. Don't go as fast, Rachel. And since I started at that end, I'm going to keep going from that side. There we go. These are going to get layered onto here, like that. Oh wow, we're already approaching the hour mark. Rachel got intense in this one. That's okay, that's okay. I have a team live that I do at the noon hour. They're always used to me being late. It's pretty sad. So if any of my demonstrators in my group are watching this, if anyone wants to post in our group that Rachel will be late, that would be great. All right, I've folded it into a W. Okay, and then I've put adhesive on this piece here, and I'm going to lay that down really close to this edge, because it matters how you close it more so than how you open it. All right, so I've stuck it in there. It's in the middle between here and here, and it's going to, of course, pop open like that. But if you can't open your card all the way flat, that's totally fine. Or if you get a gap when you open it flat, that's totally fine. In fact, it's probably going to happen. But you have to be able to close it, and you have to be able to have this stay within your card, right? So you have to glue it this way. Just saying. You have to. So now we'll go ahead and glue on this portion like that with it closed. Okay, and then when you open it up, ta-da, there's your W. It's actually more like an M, but unless you look at it this way. All right, then we add these, and this is pretty simple. You're just going to add a strip of adhesive right through the middle of each one, so right through the back. The middle back of each one, we're just going to go like that, like that, like that, and like that. And we have a wide enough strip here. This is 1 1/8 inch in width or whatever. So it's going to hold. It's going to grab that that adhesive. This one's going to go here. This one, I believe, is this one's here, and then this one's going to go here. So let's start with our outmost ones, the outer ones, and those actually get stuck right flat down onto the card, so you don't even have to worry about holding it awkwardly. Okay, so those get stuck there, and then this one is going to get stuck onto this section, and what I do is I just kind of hold my hand underneath, and I look to see this score line here and this score line here. Am I placing it in the middle, and do I have about the same amount of cardstock above and below, and is it lined up with this piece when I lay it flat? Okay, don't press that one down too hard yet. And the reason why I say that is because you need to line this one up next, and if these two aren't exactly the same, which in the camera they don't look exactly the same to me, then you can at least have a gradual flow into the next one. So now you're going to go like this. You can have your hand behind it to put some pressure on there. I'm centering between the two score lines. I'm looking at the height of this piece, and now I'm also looking at the height of this piece. And it looks close enough. If it's, oh, that one got moved. If it's bugging you, then you can always lift up and reposition. That's so funny. Bang, bang, and then it goes off. Okay, so there we go. Then you can squish it down. We have a little bit of accenting to do on our cards. Those two are done. So let us bring in our pearls. And then I have a couple different things to tell you about before you leave. We have a seasonal sale coming up. So if you liked any of the colors that I shared with you, oops, focus, Rachel, where are the pearls? Here they are. If you liked any of the colors of inks that I shared with you, Versamark is not included in this though, but if you liked the Coastal Cabana, you don't have it yet, you liked the Fresh Freesia, maybe you don't have it yet, or you have any other colors of ink pads that are classic ink pads on your list, then make sure that you are ready for this seasonal sale. Also, dies, any die sets that are in the annual catalog, so sets of dies, are going to be on sale. And then there's one more. Shoot, Rachel. Go to your... You guys are going to yell it out before I get there, though, I bet. I'm going to my blog. There's one more category. We have one more pearl here. Let me grab that and stick that over here. Okay, so there's my pearls. Finish card outside, finish card inside. Let's zoom out a bit. Let me scroll. Did you guys come up with it yet before I got to my website? Oh, it's not on there. The white ink pad. Oh, that is a great question, Janet. Let me peek. Hang on. Okay, let me bring these cards in here too so you can see them. This is the one. There we go. Outside, inside, outside, inside. Can you see it all on the camera? Oh, Rachel, get there. I should have, you know what? I was going to print off my flyer and I completely blanked on that too. I'm almost there. I'm going to the Stampin' Up! Website where I can get all my information in the blink of an eye. Current promotions, Rachel. Seasonal sale. There we go. So this is going to be posted on my blog. I just haven't made that blog post go live yet. But the seasonal sale is November 16th through the 18th. It includes 10% off cardstock. Did you guys yell it out? Yes, thank you. Cardstock. 10% off cardstock, 15% off ink pads, excluding ink pad bundles. Sorry, the white is not included. And then the third-party pads. I don't think white's included. Shoot, you guys let me know. That I don't know. I'm going to have to look at the fine print at some point. And then the 20% off dies. So 10% off cardstock, 15% off ink pads, and then 20% off dies. And these are all in the annual catalog, the 16th through the 18th. So if today is the 10th, it's going to be next Tuesday through Thursday. And I'm looking through to see if anybody has talked about the white ink pad. Maybe Trisha knows. I don't know. Yeah, except the bundles are third party. So I'm not sure if white is considered a bundle because it comes with its re-inker. That's what I'm wondering. If any of you are thinking about becoming a demonstrator so that you can get a discount on products, you could get your starter kit on November 16th, 17th, or 18th and get an added discount into that already discounted starter kit on those kinds of products. It is not included. Thank you, Christy. I appreciate that. What else? The starter kit. I forgot to tell you about that last week and this week. So we have a starter kit special. So if any of you want to become a demonstrator and get the discount. Now, you don't have to demonstrate. You can just be what they call a discount shopper, or they sometimes call it a hobbyist or whatever. You're in it for yourself. Totally fine. Like a majority, over 90% of demonstrators are the discount shoppers / hobbyists. So you'd be totally in the same boat as everyone else. But you can get the starter kit this month. It started November 4th and it runs through the end of November. You can get it at a discount even further. So normally the starter kit is $99 plus tax, free shipping, a free bonus paper pumpkin kit that's thrown in there in the US, and then you get free business supplies. So you're not even purchasing business supplies. They just come free. And then you get to choose up to $125 worth of product in that starter kit order. So it's not just $99 worth of product, it's anything you want on your wish list up to $125. Well, right now they're discounting it to $75 for the starter kit. So you can get a nice, great Christmas gift for yourself. Get the starter kit, get the things that you have on your wish list in a starter kit up to $125 worth of product for $75. You can visit my blog, and when you're there, you click on the Join tab. Then if you want to shop, you also can access my shop link on my blog at stampyourartout.com. I feel like I had one other thing I wanted to share. On stage. So a lot of demonstrators are going to be attending an event this weekend virtually called On Stage at Home, and that starts tomorrow night. Oh my gosh, so fun. So I'll have lots of fun ideas to share with you. I always get lots of inspiration and motivation and just a ton of things to share with you after these events. So look forward to that. These demonstrators are going to be able to pre-purchase some newer products that will be debuting in January. So I will be pre-purchasing and expediting. So stay tuned for future videos so you can see that. It is a great starter kit price. You're right, Linda. And thank you, Linda, and a couple, I think it was Trisha last week at the end of the video. Rachel, you forgot to talk about that. I'm like, oh my gosh, I did. It's an awesome deal. I think that's all I needed to share. So next video will be smack dab in the middle of the seasonal sale on November 17th, next Wednesday at 11 a.m. Central Time. We need to do prize drawings. So I'm going to pull in prizes from last week. Trisha, if you did not have a chance to do it, it's totally fine. But we need to choose a winner from the last week's After Live commenters. And I can do that after the live is over and just announce it next week, which is probably what I'll have to do if Trisha didn't have time to do that for me today. If she does have time to do, oh, she did. I love you, Trisha. Thank you. She's got all the technology to be able to do this too. So the After Live prize winner from last week is Julie Poindexter. Make sure that you reach out to me. My email address is stampyourartout@comcast.net, and you get this little package of a huge sheet of dimensionals and then the gold gilded gems. This week's winners will get a pick. Again, you get to pick from these items. I actually have 2 sets of pearls. But I have a couple embossing folders that have not been nabbed up as prizes yet. It's the Merry Melody. It's a 3D embossing folder. And then this one, which is not a 3D embossing folder, but it covers a large surface. So I think that you'll be able to get this similar effect, either one. It's called Pretty Flowers. These are all current products, by the way. The brushed metallic adhesive back dots, if you don't own them, or the pearls. That's your pick of what you get to choose. And she's already picked the prize winners. And you also get, along with your pick, a blending brush. Because you have to have a blending brush after today's demo. So, blending brush plus one of these, you need to let me know. Today's prize winners are Joanne Smith and Faylene Mays. So congratulations to all 3 winners that were just announced. Make sure that you reach out to me with that email address. And on that note, I think that's it. We went over almost 10 minutes. I love you guys. Thanks for sticking with me. And thank you very much to Trisha for all the work she did today. Now I'd like you all to go and stamp your art out. Bye-bye, everyone.